So now we have 4 members of the 1989 winning team with us: Frank Lynam, Padraig, Maxwell, Tom Darcy and Pat Fox. Lads, thanks very much for joining us here this morning. I suppose to start off, maybe I might start, Frank, with you, and about what's your earliest memory of football in Rosemount or GA in Rosemount?
I suppose the earliest memories would have come from home. It would have been the stories about the 50s, and I'm sure they were, looking back in the stories, there were rose tinted glasses that they were being discussed on, but I thought they were legends, like, you know, that Sonny Carney and Johnny Haley and Tom Darcy and Tony Kelly and so on, with all them names. And that would have been my whole, you know, these stories over and over, like, you know, and that I just couldn't wait to get going with Rosemount, like, you know, that the pride, I would say, my father and Billy and these boys would have, like, you know, and I'm sure it was lots of bad days, but they didn't remember them ones that they didn't, like, you know.
And I think your father played for the county too. Joe Kane was mentioning, you know, that when the likes of Desi would come back from county, it gave the whole place a lift, and lads loved seeing them out in the field and playing with them.
Right. Yeah, county wouldn't have been mentioned, yeah, as much. Yeah, I know he did go on, he played for Westmeath and that at the time, and I don't know, like, how much training they actually done to play with the county or that, but yeah, it was all the stories were about Rosemount, and all the different characters and the different people that came and played with them, and I'd say that's where the pride in our house would have come from. Yeah. I mean, listening to them stories about all these people, like, and the different things, and that, you know.
And then, Padraig, your earlier memories then, obviously, you know, you grew up in Streamstown, but tell us about your first interactions with Rosemount or your first memories of playing.
Well, my family would have a lot of history with Rosemount, but I wasn't overly aware of it. Like Frank, I would have heard all the names and some of the stories, but structured football, no, I had no involvement with it at all previous. And just when I went into the Carmelite, I met up with a bunch of Rosemount lads and got friendly with them. One of them said one evening, "You going to under 14 training tonight?" to the other guys, and I started to inquire about it, and I asked Michael Lynam, who was a close friend at the time, and he said, "Why wouldn't you come down?" He said, "I can't see why you couldn't be involved." So I headed down that evening, and we trained, and I met up. Father Bannon was over the team at the time, and that was my first involvement. Now, I was mad into football. I was crazy football anyway, but I never was, you know, this was totally different to play 15-a-side, to be involved with a team, to be involved with a club. Community centre was reasonably new here at the time. The facilities were terrific, and it was a whole new experience. And I slipped in very easily because, of course, the previous generations would have had the history and knew that my father and my uncle had played here, and it just became part of it very quickly, yeah.
And Tom, what about you? What's yours?
Yeah, sure, I suppose it goes back to hearing the stories of the 50s and all that, when my father played in that, but I suppose at home, our own farm at home in the field in the summer evenings, it was a good big family of us, but we'd be all out playing football with the goals in front field, and a lot of the neighbours would come down, and lads from Horsley, and I would have went to school in Horsley, and there wasn't much football there, but we were still mad to play, and I remember we'd be playing football till dark in the summertime of the year. Be great games on, and everyone wanted to win, and that was great memories of that. But I suppose the Comorts and the Bunskull started in, and that was the first taste of winning, and we'd great teams in Rosemount, like that would really instill the winning mentality in us, and that was the start of it really, and then the underage up along with Joe Kane and Father Bannon and Simon Boland come and collect us and bring us around to collect all the lads up in Horsley. There could be 12 or 13 lads in the back of the car, heads everywhere. But the great old memories, and health and safety wasn't the best at the time, but it was look, it was brilliant. All them, there's different fellas. I remember going to matches, the likes of Jim Boland picking us up, going off at some far end of Westmeath to play matches, and heads out windows going to games. It was, you know, but it was terrific times. So That's really where it all started. And the underage, we had huge success in Rosemount. We were very privileged to be playing with some great footballers in Rosemount up along, and we got to under 14 finals, we won under 16 finals, in 2 minor finals, won one of them, beaten in the last minute by the other one, like again a top Athlone team, and then under 21 as well, competed, got to 3 or 4 finals there as well. It's terrific, like it was great credit, and that was at the top level, like, which was huge testimony for people involved in training these young lads at the time. So that was.
And who would have been the trainers? You mentioned Simon Bourne,
Yeah,
Joe Kane, and
able to be me, and with Father Bannon was here at that time. He was very involved, and yeah, there'd be always different people bringing us to games and stuff. I remember Pete bringing us to some of the finals, and as I said, Jim Boland and lads like that, and probably I don't leave out lads, but it was a huge look, that meant a lot. And even at all in games, I remember being a young fella playing Cusie Park and won the 14 finals of that, and you'd have, you know, the sideline was mad. You'd hear Paddy McCormack and Jack Connor and lads like that, neighbours of ours, and they'd be roaring and shouting, be halfway out in the field, and that was, the hair would be standing in the back of your heads at these games, you know. So that was instilled that bit of pride in what Rosemount was all about, you know. So.
And Pat, rumour has it you actually played against Rosemount in one of your first games.
Yeah, I didn't play with Rosemount at all at the start. I played for Moat. I went to school in Moat. I never went to school in Rosemount. So that's a bit of a change. But only one lad here did it, Frank. So I never went to school in Rosemount. So my first interaction with Rosemount was playing against them in the coming to Bone School. When they were winning all the titles, we were getting the living daylights back with Moat by Rosemount, yeah.
So it seems as though the coming to Bone School was nearly your first kind of interaction playing, you know, as on a team or whatever. Would that be the case?
See, that time there was no under 8s or 10s or 12s. So like coming to Bone School was it. That was the under 12, I suppose. Really, you know. Your first interaction nearly was under 14, I think. You know, there was no.
Yeah, I suppose not looking parish leagues. I've forgotten about that. That was a great thing. I remember playing parish leagues. That was probably the first thing down here. Like that was playing against other lads, but that was great competition. It was great because we had kind of Hursty Club or Rosemount all involved in that. They were great games too, you know.
Was it getting to all those finals? It was under 14. It was nearly a county final every year that time. Under 14, under 16. We were in nearly every final, you know. And Thompson losing the under 14 in the last minute to Baltimore, that was a killer.
Yeah.
Well, then winning under 16, I suppose, was the first success, you know.
The Buns and the Buns Goods would have been hugely successful as well.
Oh, yeah.
7 or 8 or whatever was won there, and didn't like we got onto the schools in Moat. The Camry probably would have played a big part for a lot of us, and you know, played the first year football and so on up and down, like, you know. And I'd say in around when I was, we'd say 12, 13, there was the under 12. I would guess now was starting at time. Father Bannon bringing us into Millmount in Moneygard to play a game in there, and that was probably the first, we'll say, underage game that we had played like at the time, you know.
And then obviously you mentioned, you know, the Carmelite. You know, I think all of you would have went to the Carmelite. Did you?
Did for a short while, yeah.
Short while. And I definitely know, Pat, you had success in the Carmelite. You know,
Horrible success as well.
Horrible.
Yeah.
That was a hotbed of GA and a lot of, you know, inter-county players probably in school there at the time as well. What sort of an impact did that have on you from a football perspective?
I'd say it had a very big impact. Like the Carmelite were very competitive that time, winning All Irelands, and I was lucky to win 2, and McElhinney won. Well, I won 1 and McElhinney won 2, you know. But it's only really when you look back on it now and see like to win an All Ireland colleges, it was a massive thing, you know. But that time it was unbelievable. There were 10 or 20,000 people going to those games. It was like All Ireland's, on All Ireland final day, like it was big occasions. Back and winning the Leinster final as well, you know.
There was something about it too, because it was sustained. It started maybe 74, 75 when it started. Won the first Leinster, won an All Ireland in 76, won all the Leinsters I think up until 1980, won another All Ireland in 80, another All Ireland in 81. Like, that's a big stretch. This is not you can't retain these players, like they're gone after 6 years. So Father Graham had a good way of training and players bought into it, and yeah, it was very intense. It was 5 evenings a week, every week, and there were no exceptions.
Yeah, Rosemount would have played a huge part in it. Like, go back there, you had Sean Tone and John Carberry, and you had Frank Tone and Tom Gagan and yourself, and Rory Maxwell would have been on them 80-81 teams. You know, it would have been a huge connection here. And Father Clement would have had a huge connection in the parish, didn't obviously with Father Murray being out here, and you know, the Camerons would have very influential in it.
So a lot of that success would have impacted the club here as well, and raised the standard.
It would have benefited, definitely. Like, you know,
Definitely brought the profile of football up a bit, you know, compared to schools that weren't successful. Profile of football was up, and it was good for Westmeath too. We didn't add much to Westmeath's success, I suppose, but it did bring the profile up a little bit, yeah.
And then I suppose moving on, then obviously we had a certain amount of success at minor level. I think Tom, you mentioned 2 minor finals you were in. You know, I'm not sure, Padraig and Frank, what was your at minor level? How had
I would have been on the tail end of them.
We played 82.
Then when you got Shamrock's down at that low one.
Yeah, that was 82, I think.
Was that 82? Yeah, I was playing that day. We were well beaten that day, weren't we?
Yeah, I just was over age that year now, but I remember that all right,
yeah. No, I would have missed out on that. The lads there, Padraig and Tom and Pat, would have been very central to them.
Well, I came in near the end of the success. I was making up numbers at the end. I was lucky enough, but there was exceptionally strong teams up through, and again that went on for a number of years. We were in under 16 and minor semi-finals practically every year. You know, there was only probably one grade of football at the time.
Would I be wrong, Tom, in saying that Rosemount had the underage player of the year 3 years there? Jim Gagan, Pat Carton, and Frank Tone. That'd be right. They were extremely strong men in a row. I think we're in a row, Tom.
They were.
They were like extremely talented, powerful men. So they were. Like, you know,
So then I suppose coming on to probably one of the biggest successes of your football career would be in '89. You know, winning the senior title for the first time in a long time, and you know, against a fancy Athlone team. What are your memories of that year even, and ultimately the final?
Leave that to you, Tom.
Yeah, sure. Look, it was huge memories. Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you go back to that day, sure, it was massive, yeah. But the build up to it, I suppose we were, like, with all the underage success we talked about, like, we were a lot of years trying to get through, and we had disappointments. I think 85 was probably the biggest disappointment. We got beaten in the semi-final against Clare that year, but then we lost a lot of players. Lads went to America, you know, the country was in a recession, lads were emigrating, and a few guys moved away and stuff, and we kind of had to rebuild again, but we did rebuild. And I think in '88, and I remember, Darcy took over as chairman, probably brought a bit different kind of an element to it, and the players, just there was a bit more belief came back into the players. We got Brother Sean on board in '89, and I remember myself and Ronnie Kelly going over to, Ronnie had inside information to this Brother Sean and Clara, and we ended up going over one night, and we got talking to him when he took on the job, and I think Brother Sean brought a great belief into the team as well, and a couple of young lads like David Kay and Paddy Spellman, they were minors that time when they came on, so it all added to it. And look, it was very fine margins in winning it, and we had nearly scared with Kinnegad that time. We were an up-and-coming team, but anyway, look, step by step, and we got through. The semi-final beating Moat was a huge deal. Like, everything was going wrong that day, and we were kind of going in as favourites, and but it was brilliant. And we got a couple of goals at the end. We kept digging in all through the game, and we got through. But final itself then was, Tom Gagan playing midfield that day. His wife Marguerite was an accident that Saturday, and she ended up in intensive care, and that was really tough because we were all very nervous going into the game, but maybe it gave us different focus in. We were hoping that they were going to be okay and that, and we kind of went out and played for them then on that day. But look, it was a brilliant day, and as I say, finals are very hard won. Like Rosemount, they won back in the 50s. Whatever we won that time. Was so hard to get back there, and so hard to win anything. But the were hard won for a reason, and that's it. But look, it was brilliant that it worked out, and we got through on the day.
When you're successful, a year is successful, you know, you look back and you say, that was easy in a way. But you see, the stars have to align, and all the years when maybe there was as much effort, maybe more effort put in, and it just didn't happen on the day, like, you know, like with 10 minutes to go again, it wasn't looking great now, so it wasn't. And like, you know, and then the goals probably came out of nowhere, like, and probably controlled the final. Pretty much from the start.
Started very well, yeah.
Probably one of the better games of the year, like, it was controlled, and it was a very, very strong, fancy, that lone team at the time.
Going 3 in a row, like.
Yeah, like we wouldn't have been given much of a chance.
Yeah, we're
on the day.
We had a great record against that Lone. On a head-to-head, we had a great record, and I think that's where we were getting the belief from. Even though at Lone we were winning titles constantly, and we weren't, but we always up through underage with serious battles with that Lone, and it was never more than a kick of the ball in it. So, you know, on our own level, we were reasonably confident. Tom Gagan's accident, I think, took all the pressure off us because our minds were focused elsewhere, and then the game was there to be played. And I think maybe it caught at Lone a little bit because they knew that we were having a bit of trouble in Rosemount, and maybe they weren't just as switched on as often. So I think it kind of worked to our advantage.
Those teams were very familiar because they had played in several, all through underage. Every player knew everyone else there.
Rosemount didn't fear them in any way at all. Like,
no, I think they probably didn't maybe fear us either because we had played them so often, you know what I mean, and we were always able to...
Yeah, but that was a physically strong Rosemount team. Like, if you even just go up the middle there, like with John Fox and Pat Carton and the two Gagans in the field, and you have Tom Darcy, maybe Andrew Boland, maybe Docky, like, they were big, strong lads, like, you know, and you had the likes of this bullet in the corner, then so you had, and Pat Spellman was playing wonderful football. So Dixie was a steel bar, like, you know. You know, you go on to James Kelly, you know, super, like Alan McKnight had a really good year that year as well, so you had like this. It was a strong, physical, mature team, so it was, like, you know.
I suppose it was at a time in the 80s where no team was dominant. The amount of, I think 6 or 7 teams won championships in the 80s. 2 clubs, I think, won 2 championships, and then it was spread out even, and a lot of them were rural clubs that were winning championships. So it was a great decade for football because it was spread around, and like Rosemount was as entitled as anyone else to have a championship. That team probably, with injury trouble after, but it probably developed into a better team afterwards. But Mullingar became such a powerhouse that we just couldn't get any more.
So I just can't leave that team without mentioning Pat King.
Like
Pat would have been hugely influential for all of us. Like, you know, he was such a club man. He was, you know, he probably like a good wine. He got better with the age of the football. Like, you know, he'd been 39 that day, wasn't it, that time?
Yeah, he was
he was huge and shrewd and cornerback,
very consistent. Never made a mistake.
Very clever and great guy to have just for a few words into younger lads' ears as well, just to calm lads down. And he had all the experience that he was playing for 10 or 15 years before that, which was great. But
I think Mixie would have been outstanding through them years as well.
Mixie was fantastic.
We probably didn't realise at the time the contributions he was making, like the ground he covered and the tackles he went into and the things he done. Like, he was just incredible man.
Yeah, they're the two.
He had no fear.
P. King and Mixie, the two of them are gone. You know, it was, you know, Mixie in recent years, but it's a loss to this team and to lose them as
in the parish,
and they were great. Like, there were 2 chairmen as well, and look, Mixie's legacy out here in this pitch and what he's done around, huge legacy.
Same with Pat King, like, huge legacy. His contribution to it was immense.
And I suppose then, you know, I've spoken to numerous people and they talk about the pride that the people in Rosemount had for football and so on. I'd say that evening and the weeks that followed after that win must have been a special time. You were all probably young men at the time. What was it like for you? And, you know, I know there's a certain amount of celebrations or whatever, but what did it mean for the people of the parish and the community?
It meant so much because, like, you know, it's men, our fathers and that era, didn't really shed a tear too likely, you know, but I remember Sonny Carney and my father shed a tear together that evening, like, just so proud that Rosemount had got back, like, you know, and
Done it again.
I suppose I said maybe we should have won more, maybe if you were to be critical of us, like, you know.
Well,
but,
someone said there were probably better teams than that one in against all those Mullingar teams. Just that Mullingar team was just so strong.
yeah,
You know, they had a lot of players. And
yeah, Bernard Flynn came in,
Bernard
as well,
Flynn,
then
Bill
Bill
Sexton,
Sexton,
Kevin Cahill, you know, but that wasn't their fault. They were there to be played. As I remember saying at the British Groom one even after, like, oh, it was easy for you to be his, you know, you had all them players. Sure, I suppose you're right, he says, sure, he'd have left them on the line if he had them. You know?
Yeah. So I suppose we went on from 89 and beaten in 93 and 95.
He lost, what, two? Was it two?
Yeah, 93 and 95.
Yeah. Good through semi-finals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a good time for the club in Wales, like we were up there top end and competing at that.
We'll never be bar final.
A memory I have, I think, would have been one of your last games playing for Rosemount. We won the Fesh Cup in Ballycarrigy
Yeah,
against Mullingar.
against Mullingar, Sean,
That was a league match.
no, it was Fesh Cup.
No, it was a league match. That was
Double up.
and Mullingar agreed to double up for a Fesh Cup match.
Oh, was that a final?
It was a final, yeah. So
Yeah.
Mullingar agreed to play it there. It was a home game for Mullingar. They agreed to play it as a Fesh Cup match in Ballycarrigy. You right saying that, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I
on the Thursday evening.
remember winning it, yeah. It was
It was
a
about an
midweek, yeah.
It was on the 4th of May. That's how I know.
Mullingar, and I don't think it was long after Pat King had passed away.
Yeah.
Was that the 92 Fesh Cup?
That was the 92 Fesh Cup.
Yeah,
Played
93.
played in May 93
Yeah.
on a Thursday evening, and the following Tuesday evening we played Lomans in
The 94
in Ballagore, the 93 one, and we lost in the first round of the 93 one, so we had it for 4 days. The one Fesh Cup we won, we had it for 4 days.
Yeah.
We won the league as well. We did get.
We won one league, yeah.
96, I think, was it?
So I said, oh.
Who was then Brendan
97.
Lowry was over.
97.
I think, yeah.
Was it not earlier, no?
I think I can.
Yeah.
Division 1 league, right?
Yes.
Right.
We won. We got the full set and everything.
Yeah, I think 96, you can see it up there. Yeah.
Those years with Brendan Lowry involved, they were great years. We had back in many times that time, you know. We used to go off on trips there.
Just to mix it up a bit, you
We
know.
used to mix it up a bit, yeah. He brought a great vibe into the flesh, you know, Brendan.
You were good with the banjo, I think.
Good with the band, yeah. We had plenty of practice on it, though. Like, nearly every weekend we were on somewhere.
And then-
on a minibus.
And I suppose then, you know, a lot of you played on, and Frank, then you obviously moved on and had success with Ballycarrigy then.
Yeah, that 93 final, I think would have been my last
Yeah, sorry,
game for Rosemount. And
Do you play with Ballyfrey?
oh yeah,
You did?
yeah. Well, yeah, again, it's all about time. And when I went to Ballycarrigy, there was a little bit of a buzz going on. Football was coming back. We won a junior in 95. We won the intermediate in 96. And we won another intermediate in 99. And got 5 years of senior football as well that time. Like, there were good times. And again, it was just the luck of the thing, had just been there in the right place at the right time. Like, you know, the board had been tagging in with the boys in 89 here. You know, it just got in there at the right, you know, and that. I know I had good times in Ballycarrigy now. And the club and the parish every now would have been very, very good to me now, and that we had really good fun with that now. And the World Pattern, but just we had a few trips as well now, and them boys were nearly a bit wilder than the boys here as well now, so they were, you know.
Just when you're talking about Barrett,
Yeah.
to put a sting in it really for you.
Yeah.
Father played with Emperor before he came to Rosemount. Small little village, it wasn't even a village, a townsland, a cul-de-sac, a lot of big families at the time, and they had a little junior team. I think they won the junior championship in 1959. The father is still alive in 93, but he doesn't have a bad word to say about anyone, as long as they didn't play football for Ballycarrigy.
There's a rivalry with every
There's a line there, yeah.
Yeah. I think Emperor were able for Ballycarrigy as well, like, you know. I think Emperor were the cause of Ballycarrigy getting barred, weren't they, from football?
But,
I think your father could be part of that as well, so you would have been like, you know.
in there, all right. He had 11.
Ballycarrigy were barred from having a club, and I think they came back as Kilbixie Gales for a year or two, and didn't go back as Ballycarrigy again. But there was some
Ended up in the High Court in Mullingar.
yeah, there was some infamous rows with with Ballycarrigy and Emperor, like, and Emperor was really only a road, but a tough part of the
And then I suppose when your playing days finished, all of you got involved in coaching and contributed even further to the club. What was that like? You know, I think there was a certain amount of success and some good days involved there where many of you were on the line.
Yeah, well, no, it was nice finished probably playing the county, whatever, but I remember getting my own young that was coming on, and that we got involved in underage here, which I suppose from experience being a young lad yourself, that's where it all starts. So I remember Docky Healy and Padraig Moore, we kind of got involved at that time with underage and that, and got. So it's grand to see young lads improving as they go along and that. But yeah, look, it's a great club here for underage. It's great work we've done underage ever since down along. So that's where it all starts. So it's so important.
And Padraig, you're still involved. You're
Still involved, yeah. I must be there pension now, but yeah, I remember getting involved with Martin Healy with an under 12 team, and we were very much on our own at that time as a club, and we had a lot of good players, and we got into our first Division 1 final at under 14, maybe a year after that. I think that was the first Division 1 about 30 years, and we got into Division 1 14, 16, minor, and then we got one or two before we joined up at Castledale at under 21. We didn't have success in any of them, which was a tremendous pity because they were a terrific bunch of lads that trained all the time, they worked extremely hard, they deserved something for it, you know, the medal is worth anything. And look, those players maybe suffered because they didn't have the success they should have had, but it was a terrific time. We had 5 or 6 years there with really, really quality players and really good teams, and you know, if it wasn't for immigration, I think we'd be reaping the benefits of that at level now more. But we still have a decent bunch that come through from those teams, and hopefully we'll see a lot of them over the next few years.
And then, Frank, I suppose, as you mentioned, you moved away from the parish or whatever, but the club has drawn you back a couple of times. I think this is your second stint back now, being involved with the senior team and adult team.
Heavily involved with Ballycarriga at the coaching and that as well, and you know, right from the under 8s right through to the adult down there, like, you know. But there's something unique about Rosemount, you know, even being involved at the moment. Like, they'll give 100%. They will train to their best. For like, I suppose we're really a half parish here, really. Like, you know, like I'd say Rosemount punches above its weight. But they're just so honest, so genuine. I think they have to give you, they will give you, like, you know, that's what makes them unique, and why they're so successful, and why they're always thereabouts, like, you know, and they always will be, because football is just embedded here, so it is, like, you know, and yeah, wonderful.
And then, Pat, you went on a slightly different venture then and became, depending on who you talk to, a very successful referee. I'm joking, but yeah, you put in a very good, still going on, mind you, career at refereeing, but you know, I suppose would the highlight be refereeing a Munster final for you, or what's your highlights from?
There's a lot of highlights I could go into it, because the county board were putting on pressure. They had no referees, and I think Paddy Collins sent out, I was secretary here, and he sent out a letter saying that any club that wasn't providing a referee, that there was no night games that time or evening games around, everything was on a Sunday, and they were struggling with referees having to do a game in the morning and a game in the evening, and some clubs providing no referee. And I tried for a whole month to get someone to go, and I don't know who was chairman, that could have been Colin King, said to me, why don't you go yourself? And I said, you must be joking. But I did go, and I inveigled 2 others then. When I said I'd go, Maxwell said he'd come, and Colin Boland said he'd come, and that was grand. We went and done the course in Mullingar. I think it was 6 weeks, 2 nights a week, and an exam that you were never going to fail. You were guaranteed to pass that one. And I think I remember that was on a Thursday night, and the following Monday or Tuesday, a letter come in the post to referee Moat and Tubber Clare. That was my first ever game, under 14 in Moat, and I did not know what to do. I couldn't believe. I remember asking him, did he get one? I did. He says, yeah. Padraig says, I say, did you do it? I pegged it into the fire. But I went to Moat that evening anyway. And I don't think ever was as nervous going to a match, even the county final, playing or All Ireland, I never was as nervous as going into Moat that evening after the match, you know. Yeah. Just you're on your own, like we're playing football, no matter what happens or what mistake you make, there's always 13 or 14 or 25 more. But you're 100% when you make a mistake and you're refereeing on your own, you know.
And you're still continuing to ref now. How many years are you refing now?
Oh God, I don't know, nearly 30 I suppose, yeah. No, I don't regret it for a minute, you know, and I had great days and great times, and I suppose when I progressed on to the inter-county, onto the Leinster panel and then on to the All-Ireland panel, but then you had to get 4 umpires, that was fairly regular. You couldn't be going every Sunday, you had to be nearly dependent on that, and I had 4, like Jockey and Mixie and Seamus McCormack, who else? Moss and PJ came in. Tony Mullen, yeah. I'd say Tony Mullen has been my most loyal umpire. He never missed a game, I'd say. Seamus McCormack and Mixie, I have to say Mixie was making, 100 cows or maybe 100, 200, I don't know what he had. And he was coming and leaving the cows behind and coming up umpiring with me. It was like unbelievable. He was an amazing man. Yeah. The way he was able to fit everything in, Mixie, I can't let him go without saying that, you know. But the umpires were very loyal to me. I never had to worry about them, you know. And no matter what, I didn't mind getting abused myself, but I hated the umpires or anyone working with me to get abused, you know.
And then you have the unique honour of winning and refereeing a Hogan Cup final.
I have, I'm the only person ever to win and referee an All-Ireland colleges final. Now last year, or a couple of months ago, that was nearly beaten by David Goff. He was on a St. Pat's and Navan team, but he was only a sub on it. So I still have a little bit of a record, you know. So
but then obviously many county finals, I think Leinster club finals. You know, you've done it all.
I can't remember exactly now. I think I have 7 county finals done, including 2 replays, a couple of Leinster club finals, and a Railway Cup final. Munster final, I don't know jobs, but the GA was great, the travelling was great. I refereed all over the world as well, you know, like refereed in America and in the Middle East and in Madrid and Paris and Toulouse in France and London, everywhere. Like that element of it was, I have to say, was very exciting.
Padraig certainly regrets running that letter in the final.
But it's only when you go, like I was here about 3 months ago, I was out in The Hague in Holland, where there was 700 Irish people had all come together from all over Europe, and hold up in your eyes to see what the GAA is doing all over the world, you know. And you go to all, like those finals in Madrid and Paris and all those places, they're the European finals. And I remember doing one of those finals, I don't know where it was, in Madrid or somewhere, and I asked him a fella's name, and he says, Darragh Rooney, and I had to look at him again, and he was from Ballymore. So that type thing, you know, but it was great, yeah.
Yeah, well, fair play. Well, look, lads, thanks very much for your time. I don't know, is there anything else that you wanted me to, is there anything I had missed out on, or probably she could stay talking all day. Is there anything you want to?
I don't think so. They were fantastic times, and I suppose you don't appreciate them when you're at it, you know what I mean? And you'd be maybe, Yvonne knows, giving out about the secretary and giving out about the chairman, but when you're gone through it all and you see the work that people are putting in, like there's every year you come down there and there's a convention, you're trying to get chairman and secretaries and treasurers and everything, and they're the ones doing all the work, you know what I mean? And everyone else kind of laps it up and knows how to do everything when you're not involved, you know what I mean? People maybe embrace it a bit more and embrace the people we have and appreciate the work they're doing, you know. And all the work that was done for us, like all the, like Joe Kane and Simon Ball and them, that driving and collecting is, it's only when you look back on it to think, you know, all they done and all everyone is doing still, you know.
Yeah. And there were different times
in coaching.
Now you could have 4 or 5 helping out with it under 8, 10, 12. Like Joe often went his own, Simon would have went on his own, and like, you know, Father Bannon. I remember 15 of us getting out of Father Bannon's car down to sports in Drumrenny one day, like, you know, the work that they put in, and there was no thanks for it or anything like that. Like,
Those sports,
yeah.
Ballymore sports and the Rosemount sports, they were great days. They were like county finals. Yeah.
And you probably get a medal as well.
Well, you would get a medal, yeah. And the all disappointed we didn't get a winner one. But you always got a medal when you won or lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look, it's a unique club. It's 100 years. It's amazing to think about, you know. But it's 35 years since we won the championship. It was I think it was 36 years before that we were listening to our fathers and that team of the 50s. And now it's nearly the same again. Like but look, it's not all about winning. Them chances might come every now and again, but it's the work that's going on at the ground level is unbelievable. Long may it last. Hopefully in 100 years' time, they might be looking back at this video and saying, "I heard them poor old lads ever go."
Frank was talking about how unique Rosemount is, and that's what I know is coming in from outside the parish, like, you know, and the pride that was in the place. And at that time, we had a lot of fairly vocal supporters, and it was great to play football. It was great to get that roar. You know, I mean, remember the likes of Tom Burns and these sort of people. They were serious characters. Your father, all the different people.
Some
brilliant characters.
Yeah, that time, at half time, you'd have lads, maybe if you're around in the field, you'd have different supporters maybe in beside you, you know, and
tell you what to do.
you'd be all excited, you know.
And into the
after the one became after you, the lads in as well.
And you're going to have them in giving out too.
Remember Milltown ran a tournament, and we used to have to cross in through a field over so on. But we got to the final of it, and playing when he got a Shamrocks, and it was a strong Shamrocks team. Now we had a strong. It was a B team, like we were, and you know, like John Bryan and Finn Field and them probably were the older as they get down to next to Noel, and they were already probably 15 or 16, and that would I don't know, it felt like it was an awful crowd at the final anyway. There was awful excitement and all that, but the game went down to the last kick of the ball, and Russell would lead by a point. Bruno was doing umpire.
I was umpire along with him.
The ball went in and went wide, whatever, yeah. And the goalie went to get the ball to get it back out as quick as he could. And Bruno said, "He get ahead." And Bruno ran down, and there was a big dip down the back. And Bruno kicked the ball down the hill, so he
that was half time. It was a big wind, and we were playing with the wind the second half. We were 4 or 5 points down at half time. And myself and Bruno were sent down to do the umpire that end to get the ball quickly back for the goalie. And sure, Bruno got the ball straight away. The goalie thanked us and delighted. And next time we got back level, and then we went a few points ahead, and we went 3 or 4 points ahead. Bruno says, "I'm getting the next one himself." And he gave this ball a boot and down it went. So we were around in rough. I remember poor old Killer Bourne used to be with one in guard. Time came around, he was going to be at me and everything. That was we were sent away from the back of the goals after that.
Do you remember when Athlone didn't give us the replay because the board awarded the game to Athlone, and some of you were playing county football at the time, and Bruno went in and decided that your contract was going to be terminated. Brought home. Who did he bring home? Frank Tone. One that the player with Westmead.
I think they took them off at half time.
Yeah.
Frank Tone was playing well, and
I think that was in Longford.
yeah.
That was around the time Pat Carden was a team with Westmead operating on the border line. That's another story.
Different video.
But there was a senior B competition then, that lads. That was taken sort of serious. The Downs would have been good in the Moat battles with Moat down in Ballymore. And again, the crowd were in the pitch in Ballymore, like, and it felt like the Bernabeu. Like, it was just, it was an atmosphere.
I remember that in '88, it was developed that team for '89 as well.
Yes.
That senior B team. You playing at that club anymore? Was there a draw on that, and it was a replay or something? It was
replays in Athlone,
It was great excitement.
That was the Sunday that we beat Moat, that Moat had a really strong team, and we were supposed to have no chance.
I think that was '84, but
was that far back?
Yeah.
But there was Moat County Champions.
Centenary there.
Moat County Champions.
But that '88 senior B team, I think I remember that there was some great games going in Ballymore.
That's right. Yeah, it was great fun. But again, it was just the difference whether it was the B team or the first team you were on or whatever team you were. It was just the pride of playing, and just you were so excited about getting out and playing them games, like, you know. Innocent times, good times.